In this video, I'm going to explain how to add your own custom notifications in Project Insight. This is the system-wide notification screen. You can get to this screen through the notifications add-on configuration. And I'm just going to explain this whole system here. Right now you see an inline editable table with a blue box around it. That's the row where you can add new ones, or if you click edit, you'll be able to edit an existing one. And you simply need to add, to create a new notification, you would just add a new one. But I'm going to try to explain each column and how this really works here. So at the first column you'll see is the entity type. So we're going to have the ability to edit, to send it to a specific user in the system, or a specific role, or everybody in the company, or just even like an email address. Just you can put the email address in here. So these are the different beginning types of who we're going to notify. So if you're going to create a really special notification, most likely you're going to pick yourself, notify your user, and it defaults to you. Like I'm logged in as Patrick Insight right now. But another choice that's really common is a role. You also see the option group here, which only applies if you have the groups add-on. So you can create special groups of people that way and notify those groups as well. But role is the most common, or user is the most common. So then let's choose role, just because I want you to want to be able to explain all the different roles. So the first role here is the item assignee. That's the person that an item is assigned to. So if we want a notification to go to the person that an item is assigned to, like a task, then we would choose that. There's also item team assignees. This is if you have the Teams add-on where you can assign an item to a group of people or a team. Then we designate it a little different, just in case there's a notification that needs to go to the team differently than if it's individually assigned. And then there's a third one, client assignee. So if the item assignee is the client, you can choose specific alerts to your client user. Again, this depends on having the client add-on installed. Or the assigned to owner. So an assignee is anyone assigned to it, and an assigned to owner would be specifically the owner of the item. Then there's the assignor. That's the person who last sent somebody something, like usually the creator and the assigner are the same person. Then project managers. So if an item is in a project, like a task, then you could say, I want to let the project managers know something about when a task is maybe overdue, for example. Same thing here with project schedulers, project resource, the project sponsor, the person mentioned, someone who is the commenter, or the person mentioned in a specific comment, or any comment in the system. So those are the different roles you can choose. If you need guidance on that, go ahead and give us a ticket in support and someone will help you, one of our dev guys. Here are the different events that you can choose. Now, not every event applies to every item. So, for example, item denied or rejected doesn't necessarily apply to a task. So these are the different events. You have the item created, item updated, item deleted. Those are pretty obvious. Or comment created, updated, and deleted. Assignment changed, that applies to anything that's assignable. When an item's closed, when an item's reopened before the item's supposed to start by 2 days. When an item is started, when an item is due, when an item is overdue, when an item start and end date changes, or just the start alone changes, or the end changes, when the status of an item changes, when the item is completed, when their predecessors are complete, when the item requires approval, when an item is approved, denied, or rejected, when the issue status changes, or an issue resolution is created, updated, or deleted, when somebody is over allocated, when a project resource is added, when the timesheet is overdue, or an approval overdue. So these are the different default events. By the way, if you're curious about our API, all of these events you can subscribe on webhook to as well. So you can not only get notified on our emails and notifications, but programmatically you can be notified when these events occur. So these things, it's not done here, but those are the same kinds of events. Offset days applies to things like overdue and not overdue. The other option is you can then apply an alert only to a certain kind of item. And then same thing here, you can apply it to when the project is only in active state, for example. Like I don't care if a task is overdue when it's in planning. I only care about it when it's in the active mode. And then also you can filter only when certain items are assigned to a specific person. So like this would only apply to Patrick Insights tasks. Maybe you only want to get notified when project managers to be notified when a task is overdue by 2 days when it's assigned only to Project Insight, Patrick Insight user. And down here, these are how the alerts will get delivered. So you can say, I want it only online, for example, or only via email, or this when it says IM, that means push notifications and Slack and Teams instant messages. One other last option is to notify self. By default, if you're the person doing something, it will not send you an alert, but you can turn it so that it will send it to the person who did it by saying notify this person who did it. And then last column will show you who made it. So let me just go ahead and choose all these for the heck of it here. And then you'll see Patrick Insight, that's who I'm logged in as, made it. And the reason that's kind of important is that's how you can tell this is a user created one versus the system default ones. And at any time you can delete this alert and it just goes away and it'll stop sending that alert. Same thing here. If you don't want any alerts sent at all ever, you can delete all the alerts out of the system and you can always reapply the defaults as well. That way you can just reapply the system-wide defaults that way. So hopefully this explains how this all works. And if you have any other questions about alerts, feel free to contact our support and we'll be glad to help give you a hand.